Hidon, tell us, what is the difference between a good instructor and an amazing instructor?
I would have to say your ability to transfer the knowledge, right? You could be an amazing fighter,
Yep.
but not be able to teach anybody, 1/10 of what you know. So you're not really a teacher.
Here's what we believe. Amazing instructors are created. They aren't born. Now, that's contrary to popular belief. Some people look at Hidon, they say, man, he grew up in the Gracie family, he was born an amazing instructor. No. We were born in the environment that could create an amazing instructor, right? And for that, we were very, very fortunate, very grateful. But everything we have as instructors, all the pieces that make us the instructors we are, were taught to us at various stages along the way. We didn't create any of this. It was all taught, and just from being in that environment, our father, our uncles, our grandfather. Man, so major.
And our students.
We do acknowledge, and we should say right now, that there is an element of being an amazing instructor that can't really be bottled, can't be taught, and can't really be put on paper. And the passion. The passion for helping people, right? The sincere desire to spend time, energy, bettering other people. Some people have that fire. Some people don't. If you don't have the fire for helping people, there's not much we can do.
It can kind of happen on your own, though.
True that.
Through time, there can be a switch, a click, and
where all of a sudden
the passion just comes out.
and then one thing that can help speed up that process is the process of learning how to become a good deliverer of information.
Correct. So you feel more confident.
Yes. Well, if you become very good at delivering, you enjoy doing things that you're good at. So then you become more passionate about helping people because that's very closely tied to the actual delivery process.
So really, anybody can become an amazing instructor.
And anybody can become passionate if they become good at delivering the information. But the truth is, some people start with that fire. The only thing they're missing is the delivery methods, the amazing ability to take what's inside, put it into easy to follow, understandable language, and then have the other person doing that exactly. Our father's philosophy is very simple. And of course, that means our grandfather's philosophy. In Gracie Jiu-jitsu, more specifically at the Gracie Jiu-jitsu Academy and its certified training centers around the world, there exists no such thing as a good or a bad student. All students are equal. They don't know the subject, they show up eager to learn the subject, and we're there to teach them. Now, there is such thing as a good or bad instructor. Either someone knows how to take their information, put it in a logical, easy to follow, comprehensive format that makes it digestible and easy to understand by the student, or they don't know how to put it in that format for the student. And since we consider ourselves to be very good instructors, when a student shows up at here or at one of our schools, they're going to learn no matter what. We put the information in such a ridiculously easy to follow format that they can't not learn. And we dare you to test this out. So, let's teach something right now. Yes, we have to show one very critical element. We call it shading. Okay, shading. It's one piece of the, becoming an amazing instructor puzzle that is very critical, but it really is just one piece out of a huge puzzle of probably 50 pieces or more. We're going to demonstrate what shading is, but first, and I think the most effective way to show what it is to start by showing what shading isn't, and to show how a lot of instructors teach, and how it can be very confusing and overwhelming. Can I demonstrate non-shading? Let's just say, because the technique doesn't matter, the teaching principles we focus on here at the Gracie Academy are universal. Once you learn the format and the formula, it can be applied anywhere. And we're going to use a very basic technique. Let's just say just the Americana arm lock from the mount. I'm going to teach it without shading. Okay, without shading. Okay, Americana arm lock, you achieve the mount, you're on top of the person, you throw a couple slaps in their face, they put their hands up, you want to win the fight. You don't want to punch them in the face to win the fight because you could bloody them, get pushed off, break your hand, do more harm than you intended to. So instead you choose to go for a submission. There are many submissions. We're going to choose today the Americana arm lock submission. From here, my opposite hand grabs Hidon's wrist, okay? When I grab the wrist, I grab with a thumbless grip. The same side hand grabs the elbow. Together, both hands with a slight bend in the elbows. We're going to keep it nice and slightly bent. We're going to use our body weight to drive the arm to the ground. And we're going to keep it pinned to the ground at about a 90-degree angle in this elbow bend. Immediately thereafter, I take my elbow, I drop it in the pocket, I wedge it in there tightly, keep my wrist hooked. Not finger hooked, whole wrist hooked. Okay, so my whole hand is included in the party, not just the tips of my finger. Elbow tight, wrist hooked. This hand is confirmed. Keep my head low for safety. Take this hand over here and go under his elbow. Not palm down. We're going to go palm up on the entry. Wiggle through, turn once we come through, go palm down. Once it's locked tightly right here, again, hide your head down here for safety. From here, the most common mistakes are people A, lift the elbow really, really, really high like this, or B, they slide the hand, but they keep the hand so heavily impressed in the ground that it doesn't slide because the friction of the hand on the ground prevents the actual slide. So when you guys are doing this, make sure that the hand is light on the ground, it slides freely, and the elbow goes north at the same time, all the while keeping your head down. Make sure as you're squeezing, your partner's going to tap out on your back, you let go right away. You don't apply pressure fast, you squeeze slow, they tap quick. And no matter what, if Hidon tries to extend his arm, this way, we want to avoid that extension by keeping the elbow wedge in the neck, head low, everything tight and controlled. And then we're going to slide, gradually lifting like a paintbrush motion here in the direction of my knee down there. Okay? Listen up, guys. Grab a partner, pair up. Let's go try this out. Good. Can you tell them one more time how that wasn't the right way to teach?
Well, that's a lot of information. You actually know what you're talking about right there. That could be seen as like, wow, a lot of details, it's cool.
Right. Now imagine a brand new student who just walked into the Gracie Academy who saw that right there. Tell me what they're feeling right now. Or brand new students out there who are watching this right now.
It's impossible.
Tell us what you're feeling.
I can't do that.
They're thinking, that was the most ridiculous blurb of pointless.
They're thinking, what are the first 36 things that you said? I got the last 3. What were the first 36 things that you said?
Realistically, guys, if we had to count, how many details would we say were included in that presentation? What would you say, maybe 20?
39.
Yeah, somewhere between 20 and 30 I think is realistic. Details were included there. Now, you guys are thinking, man, that's a lot of information for a brand new student. Now, those of you who already know the Americana arm lock or have seen Gracie Commandment's Lesson 2, GracieUniversity.com, they were like, wow, that was just a review for me. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about for someone who's trying to learn something for the first time, this could have been a transition to back mount from the butterfly guard, right? And I could have blurted out all the details like that, and then that would have been new to you, and you would have been equally confused. The moral of the story is that delivery right there can be very overwhelming, cause frustration in the student, make them give up on themselves, and not learn the technique. Now, same exact technique taught by Hidon with proper shading, starting with a silent demo.
Okay, Americana arm lock from the mount away to finish the fight. Okay, first, both hands pin the arm. Second hand comes underneath. Hold my own wrist. Sliding and lifting, applying pressure. 2 hands push the arm down. My whole body's involved. Elbow tight. Second hand comes underneath, palm up. And notice right here on my hand how I'm holding his wrist. I'm not doing this. This is one of the most common mistakes, to hold like this with a thumb full grip. You want a thumbless grip. Secure your own wrist. Okay? Both hands, use your whole body weight. The elbows pinned to the ground. I hold my own wrist, put my head down. So like I said, most common mistake, using the thumb. Another most common mistake is people only lift the elbow instead of sliding and lifting together. Cool? 1, elbow down. Second hand comes under. Now, essential detail, especially in a street fight, make sure you hide your face. Don't be here, right, with your face open, get your eye poked. Put your head down, bite your teeth, and slide and lift and paint the floor. Okay? Make sure for safety, you go very slow, and the person that's getting caught, tap out as soon as you feel any discomfort on your shoulder. Okay? Of course, help each other and give each other feedback. Have fun.
would rather learn from him.
So what is shading?
What is shading? Here's the best analogy, okay? The best analogy is you want to paint a wall white, right? And you would like to have 5 layers of paint on that wall, let's say. It might be a little much, but for the example, it makes sense. You want to have 5 layers of paint on that wall. There are 2 ways to go about this, okay? One is to take the paint, wet the brush, paint 1 layer, let it dry. Wet the brush. Paint another layer, let it dry. Wet the brush. You got the idea until we have 5 beautiful layers perfectly level. The other way to put 5 layers of paint on the wall is get the volume or the quantity of paint needed for 5 layers, put it in the bucket, take the bucket, go to the white wall, and go, wha, whoosh, and throw it at the wall. That's still the same amount of paint. What would you end up having if you threw the bucket of paint at the wall like that? You have a bunch of dripped paint. Why? Only so much paint can land on the target at any given time without some being wasted.
So knowledge is paint?
Knowledge is paint, and you guys are the wall. No offense, but you get the point. The student is the wall.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
So shading, especially, you see how I did the technique like 6 times?
Yes. You don't understand something very interesting. With each layer of paint, or with each, there is a certain limited volume of paint that can go on the wall at any position, at any location without it dripping. There's a certain amount of paint. Professional painters know it. Amateurs don't. That's why you see the drips everywhere. He don't understand, like a professional painter, how much detail is allowed to be included at any given layer. So with each, and what each layer is comprised of is a demonstration. He did it 5 or 6 times, and he included no more than 4 or 5 details on any given layer or demonstration. Now, what does this allow? It allows the student to get 4 or 5 little basic details. And his first demo was silent. He didn't even talk. He just did it one time. So the student watched and said, wow, I get it. I see the whole move. Tell me something now. Teach me.
And compare that to what you did.
Oh, man.
Basically, we only did the technique 1 time.
And it
took about 50 seconds,
at least
a minute, from start to finish.
And 30 details, 25, 30 details, so all at once.
You could think that technique takes 50 seconds.
Right.
It's good to see that the technique only takes 2 or 3 seconds.
That's a great observation. What does, the silent demo that Hidon did is it builds the student's faith in the technique. They say, wow, that was cool. That looked cool. I can do that. It looks simple, and I want to learn that. It builds that excitement about learning it. The silent demo is a critical part. It's the first layer of paint. Okay? When I did it, Hidon's right. I took a whole minute, and a student might watch that and say, man, not only is the details ridiculous, but that's too complex for me. One of the easiest moves in Jiu-Jitsu. They're thinking, man, it's too long of a move. I can't remember all that. But what's fascinating is the wall can hold 5 layers of paint. It can, if you just let it dry between applying new layers. So with Hidon taught 1 slice beautifully, or 1 demo, silent. Then the next demo after that, which layer of paint did you put in? What was the first details you put in after the silent demo?
I just did a little step by step.
Yes, give us the example.
Real simple.
The first layer of paint by yourself.
Of course, I said Americana arm lock.
Yep.
I tell them what they're going to learn. Both hands push the arm down. Elbow next to the ear. Come under, hold my own wrist. Apply pressure.
So the first layer is a very brief, general, what do they call the layer of paint? The primer. The primer on the wall. Man, I remember that just in time. That was great. The primer. I'm not a painter, but man, I know primer. So the primer was like the silent demo. You could call it the primer as well. Or that first run through where it's just like A, B, C, D.
And all we're doing now is the student is saying, wow, that's it?
Yes.
That's all I got to do?
I can learn that. I can do that. And they're like, okay, I'm ready. And then Hidon says, hold on.
Little do they know that they're still missing many important details.
Yes.
That you touched upon,
right,
but a little too soon.
The wall needs more paint. It looks like, wow, with just the primer, it looks really white. But no, it's not that perfect, okay? We still need to add those layers and then the final little gloss to make it have that final feel. They don't know what they don't know. What Hidon does is he's so strategic in the layering in of the details. So the critical rule here is this. With each